The last thing in this unit is going to talk about real life problems, and there's quotes around that because they are not necessarily something that you're going to go out and do in your real life tomorrow, but they're ways that this stuff is applied in actual situations in nature and in building and things like that. That's where the real life comes from. So we have to be careful. We're not saying that you're going to go do this. We're saying that it is done by other people. So the most important part about these is, where do the angles go? All right, so you're going to see in these problems when we get started with them, after we kind of practice drawing on the stuff, is where are angles of elevation and where are angles of depression. Now, the good news is that these aren't that bad to deal with because they're really going to go in kind of the same spot depending on the picture. All right, but the big word is horizontal. These have to come from horizontal lines. All right, everyone should know what horizontal lines are, so we should be okay. I'm going to draw a couple of really low-level pictures that there's not any like detail to them. So these are all going to have right triangles in them. One of the common things is there's a tree and there's a shadow on the ground. And we have to figure out how tall the tree is or something, how long the shadow is, different things. The angle of elevation usually is very obviously right there, okay, in that corner. And if we put it there, we're okay. Horizontal. This is a vertical line right here. So the angle of elevation and the angle of depression is never going to go in here, all right? And even though I say that and talk about it, people still put it there. So we don't ever want to put it on the vertical side of any of these triangles. The angle of depression isn't bad when the triangle is drawn like this, right, which it's not. This is a rare kind of a triangle here. But in that case, the angle of depression would be right there against some horizontal, no big deal. All right, but when I take that tree diagram, I'm going to flip it around so it's a little different, but it's still going to be representing a tree and a shadow. Okay, so I got a tree and a shadow. If this talks about the angle of depression, what happens a lot of times is people put it right here. So like, well, it needs to be at the top. But it can't go there because that's from the vertical line. Where the angle of depression really would be in this problem is you would need to draw a horizontal line out from the top, and the angle of depression would go right there. Now, that's not really helpful because it's not inside of the triangle. There's a few different things you can do with this, but the best thing to do is to remember back to the first unit when we talked about parallel lines, because this horizontal line is parallel to that horizontal line, is that the horizontal lines make angles that are called alternate interiors. So the angle of elevation that's down here and the angle of depression, which is up here, those have to be the same. So these angles right here have to be congruent, which means that it doesn't matter which one of the angles you're given in the problem, angle of elevation or depression, they always can go in this bottom corner right here if the triangle is drawn like this. All right, no matter which one it is. Now, if the triangle is like this, it's got to go in the corner, but the real big thing is this horizontal word. All right, there's two more things to look at here. Horizontal. All right, these things have to come from horizontal lines. Whatever the triangle looks like, there's going to be a horizontal line in it if it's one of these problems. There's going to be a horizontal line in it because there has to be a horizontal and a vertical line in a hypotenuse. So you just put the angle with the horizontal line no matter what. You don't want to think about it a whole lot. And then the last thing is what I just put in there. It's in right here. I'm going to put it in a box. Because of the parallel lines, the angles of elevation and depression are always congruent. So we can always put them in the right spots.